Yes, thank you, Faizo. We are nearing the end, and to you who has probably just joined in, Faizal Luttamaguzi, the gentleman, the entrepreneur on a wooden bike, riding around Stockholm, London, and New York, and soon Oslo. He's an entrepreneur who has caught the limelight given his young age. And still, he's like he has pointed that he loves giving back to his Ugandan community in as much as he has lived in Uganda for all his, in Sweden for all his life. He's very inspirational, and he's a public speaker, an inspirational speaker. And there is a lot to learn from him. Just a few random questions, Faizo. You're certainly there because of a plan, because someone has maybe structured something in a way or the other. Are there special people you feel would need to be let know how much they've meant to you to this level?
Well, of course, that's a given. Mary Leombia, who's my mother, no doubt about this. Everything that's good about me, everything comes from her, no doubt. If you see a good aspect in me, it means she has it 10 times, no doubt about it. Of course, my siblings, I have younger siblings who have had to stand out with me because since a young age, I was always this crazy ideas, at least I want to try it. So of course, they have had to withstand my crazy randomness and thinking. And of course, I think all the friends that I've met around the world who have been patient enough with me, because I think one of the greatest lessons I've learned with the way I approach the things I do is that the first time you say it out loud, it sounds like the craziest idea ever. Like if I sat down now with you and I said, hey, I have this idea, I want to start producing wooden bicycles. You would start laughing at me, right? Rightly so, because you said, okay, first of all, how much is this going to cost you? There are already bikes on the streets. What are you going to do? It sounds expensive to tailor. So, or I said, hey, I'm going to get paid to eat food around Stockholm. Like the first time you say it, it sounds like a completely crazy idea. It's not until I actually do it and people see it actually works. So the reason I mentioned this is that throughout all these years when I've had these crazy ideas, there's always been friends and families who, even though it sounds crazy to them, they still give me enough room and enough support to let me to try it. And I think that aspect should never be undermined or underlooked, is that even though they might not believe that you're gonna pull it off, but at least if they give you enough room, enough support to try it, I think you can come a long way. So those are the people all out there that I would give a special thank you to.
Yes, thank you so much. Thanksgiving, letting people know what they do good in my life is a value I hold so dearly. So anyone who does that, I feel we are sailing in the same boat, and thank you for that. Just randomly, you're an entrepreneur. In your opinion, do you think entrepreneurship is a skill acquired, or it is from within, born within?
It's, according to me, 100% acquired.
100% acquired.
I need to clarify, I was a late entrepreneur because just like many other immigrant children, you come here and your parents says, "Genda musomero, soma, don't do anything else." And of course I did. I went to college, I went to university, I got the degree, I got a good job. And by all accounts, by any immigrant's parents' accounts, I was made successful, right? Because they had done all they could do to bring me to a point where now I was a hired and respected member of society. And for many years, this is what I did. I went to work just like anyone else. I worked hard. But along the way, I realized I can make a bigger impact by daring to go against everything that my parents maybe have worked so hard to take me to. And we should not be afraid of challenging that, even though we know what struggles they've taken for us to stand on their shoulders. But if you truly believe that you can make a bigger impact in their own lives and in yours, and this is the place I came to around 25, maybe. I realized, I said, okay, I have a job, I have a degree. By all accounts, I should be set and just continue on until I'm 65 and get my pension and be happy. But I realized, no, I can make a much bigger impact by being a little bit more crazy and quitting my job. So I did. So to me, of course, it came by the time I was 25. So I think it's definitely a late bloomer and an acquired skill you can get.
I must I must confess that somewhere I've digressed from what I actually had planned to ask you, because you're so charming, I must say. You actually, the way you express yourself is so really convincing and compelling to hear more of you. And I believe if you're out there is not believing any different from me. Thank you, Faizal Luttamaguzi. As we wind up, in football, which I believe you support, there is a saying that never change a winning team. Mm-hmm. But again, you sound like you're such a risk taker who believes in venturing into the unknown. Would you at any one point think of taking a huge risk of changing a winning team from what you're venturing into?
Of course, no doubt. Yes, and the reason to that is, if you speak in football terms, right? A winning team, eventually they said, okay, we have beaten every team that we can. We are now the champions. Where do we go from here? And unless you then, if you're already at the top as the champion of a football, so you need to ask yourself, where do we go from here? The best thing we can do after this is maybe to win another championship. That's if we continue the same path, right? We can win another championship. But I think it would be more satisfying if you dare maybe to win it in a different system or with different type of players, right? So then you change the whole team because you said, okay, last year I won the championships only with tall players. I crossed the ball in, they had it. Okay. And that's why we won, because every other team was short. So this year I'm going to change the whole team and I'm only going to get short, quick players, just so I can prove to myself that I'm not a one-trick pony and that I'm adaptable to changes. So absolutely, this is my personal views, that you should always strive to see what else you can do to improve yourself.
Thank you so much. Faizal, I don't want to believe that you came when you had already read my script, but maybe you're just a composed speaker that is just on target. Yes, we should be winding up now, and just throw me take me in perspective. How do you envision the chain of tours? I won't even say Tours of Stockholm, the chain of tours, chain of companies you have. How do you envision them a decade from now?
Okay, see, I can, like this. You know what my dream role is, or my dream title, right? I always, when you were younger, they asked you, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? And someone says a pilot or a nurse, right? Or police, right? So I always ask myself, what is my dream title? Like, what is the one thing I would love to be on my business card? You know what the answer to that is philosopher. Like, I have this romantic view of the notion of philosophy. As in, remember when we read history, like we used to read about the ancient Greeks, and used to have Aristotle and Plato and Socrates. And when you read about them in history, all it says about them is philosopher. And I said, wow, that was a title you could have back in the days. You could sit and just philosophize. So I always had this romantic dreams, like I would love to come to a point where I have done enough practical things that I've learned is, okay, this works. And it works in the sense that I can take my blueprint and give it to somebody else. And they can do exactly the same steps I take and be equally as successful. So then I would love to have an organization where all we do is sit down, we have dinners, and we philosophize. And we said, okay, we have now tours of whatever in 50 cities, and we're running it together. And the only connection we have, you don't have to have an application. It says, if you believe what I believe, if you look at the world the way I do, you're welcome. So this would be my dream vision where, you know, I meet with all these people from around the world. We sit down, we run all our successful businesses because of the blueprint that I gave them. And we philosophize. And then I can put it on my business cards. Yes, I'm a philosopher by profession. So this is my vision.
It's really a you somehow got muted, but do you get me now?
Yes, I still get you.
Yes, it's I don't know why you sound too unique, but I'll get you in your inbox to let me know more about that. Having a vision of being a philosopher, that is a very huge one. Now the Socrates of 2021. Okay, but yes, I'll get it more in a broken piece.